Welcome to r/am I the butthole, where this woman finds out the gender of her baby without her husband. Am I the butthole for blowing up at my wife for going to her gender reveal appointments without me? My wife and I are expecting our first baby together. We made an appointment to find out the gender of the baby. To me, this is very important. I had hopes for a boy. Unfortunately, the day of the doctor appointment, I had to attend my friend's birthday that I remembered last minute. I asked my wife if we could cancel the appointment and go another day, but she looked shocked that I even considered cancelling the appointment and going to my friend's birthday. I said I had no choice. She said cancelling the doctor's appointment was off the table because these appointments are restricted to specific times and dates and we can't miss it, so she'll go alone. I told her no, because that would be selfish of her. And besides, this will ruin the news of finding out if the baby is a boy or a girl. She cut the discussion and told me to go to the birthday party. I did. Then I later found out she didn't cancel the doctor's appointment and went with her mum. I came home seething and blew up at her. I started arguing with her about going behind my back and doing this without me. She said it wasn't her fault that I prioritized a party over my child. I told her I didn't prioritize anything. She literally could have cancelled and we could have gone another day. But clearly she was trying to steer the fight to a direction where I looked like the neglectful and irresponsible one. We fought some more. Then she said I'm probably angry with her because it's a girl, but I responded that she was wrong. She went outside the room claiming I was stressing her out. Now she acts like I owe her an apology on top of everything else, but I feel upset and like I was deceived by her. So, am I the butthole? Yeah, OP, you're definitely the butthole. I'm sorry. If you're prioritizing your friend's birthday, which you couldn't get out of, over the gender reveal of your baby, then something is wrong with your brain, my friend. I'm really sorry to say it, but you need to get that checked out. You know what's funny is that OP has actually left an edit below saying, Jesus, I swear I came here thinking I was somewhat justified in my frustration, but I was wrong it seems. Like, he genuinely thought he was in the right. It's very weird how you could ever think that. Obviously you should go, I don't even say anymore. A strange start to the video. Definitely the butthole. Moving on. Am I the butthole for cancelling dinner when my boyfriend brought a bell to the diner to grab the staff's attention? This might sound bad, but I don't know if I was the butthole here. I have been dating my boyfriend, Rhett, for 4 months. We live in different towns, and he's not from here. He's American living here, and usually visits on the weekends. This time, I decided to visit his town and eat out at a diner. Rhett was already there when I arrived to the diner. We talked some, checked the menu, then when it was time to order, he pulled a small bell out of his jacket pocket, lifted it up, then started shaking it. It produced a loud, annoying sound, and my ears started hurting. I was so confused, I asked what he was doing, and he said that he was trying to get one of the waiter staff's attention. I said it was embarrassing and he should stop right then, but he kept shaking it. I cannot begin to explain the looks we received from everyone. I demanded him to stop, but he said not till someone came and took our order. I threatened to leave the place and cancel dinner if he wouldn't, but he kept doing it. Someone came already, but I'd already gotten up, took my purse, and started making my way out. He followed me and started arguing about walking out, but I told him that I couldn't take being embarrassed by him, and he got upset and said that he didn't get why I thought the bell was embarrassing. He explained that it was a perfect solution for no longer being forced to wait till someone shows up. I asked if it was acceptable to do this in America, and he said, yes, because it's a free country and people there usually don't give a dang. But I said it's inappropriate and embarrassing here. He said I was being too sensitive and overreacted over nothing. He insisted we go back inside, but I refused. We ended up leaving. He kept on about how I ruined dinner by cancelling it and offending him by acting like his behaviour is shameful. I said I had a right to give an opinion on what he's done, even if he thought what he was doing was fine. But he basically told me to get off my high horse and stop calling his genius idea embarrassing. He's been sulking for days now and wanting an apology. Maybe I overreacted, maybe it's nothing where he lives, but here it's just unacceptable. Right guys, according to my YouTube, my Spotify, my Apple Podcast analytics, over half of you watching or listening right now are American. So if you can do, get in the comments. Tell me, is this acceptable to do in America? Now, look, let me tell you from my personal experience, my grandparents live in America and I've been quite a few times and I've never ever seen this in my life. To me anyway, it seems like one of the most disrespectful things you could possibly do. I would never even dream of doing this. And if I was with someone who did this, I would instantly leave. just like OP has done. Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, clicking your fingers is bad enough, but bringing a bell to specifically get a waist's attention and then jump the queue, it's so bad. What? Am I the butthole for ruining my wife's work and eating the food before she could take pictures of it? My wife runs a website dedicated for cooking and recipes. She takes pictures of food before we eat, whether it's lunch or dinner, and posts them on her Insta account. To be honest, I'm annoyed by having to wait so long for her to get the perfect shot of the food. After decorating it, adding this fork and removing that salad dish, it just takes so long, and I lose my appetite waiting till she's done. This has become the norm, but yesterday I decided I was having none of it. I came down to find that she has cooked an entire feast as her next cooking project and put it on the table. Note that by looking at the whole table setting, I figured pictures had already been taken, right? But no. She said she was going to take a few pictures and I had to wait. She went upstairs to get her camera, and that is when I grabbed the spoon and started filling my plate from every dish she's made and ruining the look as a result. I was hungry and unwilling to wait around 10 plus minutes to eat. She came downstairs, saw the damage, and blew up, almost crying, saying I just ruined her cooking project that she's worked hours for, as well as putting a lot of effort into. I said I was hungry and couldn't wait, but she kept yelling about how much of an obnoxious jerk I was for not waiting until she took pictures of the dishes she made. She even said that this was an attempt of me to sabotage her success. I said, oh please, enough with those conspiracy theories. I'm just hungry and I couldn't wait till you got the perfect shot. We had a big argument and she went upstairs crying. I finished my food, then went out to cool off a bit. When I returned, she threatened that she'll never have me eat anything she cooks and said she'd rather throw it in the garbage than give it to an ungrateful, obnoxious jerk like me. I said this wasn't cool, but she told me to go and screw myself. I said fine, then went to spend the night in the guest room. She texted me the word jerk about 15 times till I turned my phone off. Today, she's gone complete radio silence. So, am I the butthole? Yeah, I mean, once again, OP, you're definitely the butthole here. It's your wife's job to take photos of her food looking good. Obviously, before she eats them. Why are you ruining that just because you're hungry? I mean, come on, you can wait 5 minutes or 2 minutes for her to take some photos, can't you? It's not that hard. Also, it's not as if you've spent hours cooking a meal, you can't wait to eat it. Then your wife's like, no, let me take 1,000 photos of your hard work before you're allowed to eat. She's the one that's made the food. Yet you're the one that's like, no, I want to eat it right now. I can't wait 30 seconds for you to do your job. Come on, like the whole point of her making this nice food in the first place, which by the way you get to eat, is partly, obviously, for work. So she can post it on her socials. It's not just for the sake of it. So if she's not getting the photos, then she's not going to make the food. You're ruining the photos. You're not going to be allowed to eat in the future, mate. I'm sorry. And also, like, before you do this, before you just jump in and eat some of the food, surely you have a discussion about it first. Reason with her, say, could you be a bit faster? I'm hungry, at the very least. I wouldn't advise doing that in the first place, to be honest. It's pretty ridiculous, but still, there's surely a step in between going from sitting there to eating all the food. Come on. Am I the butthole for wanting to tell my brother's fiance about the tracking app he secretly installed in the new phone he bought for her? My brother is currently engaged to his fiance. He bought her a new phone for Valentine's and asked my boyfriend, who's trained in computer and software, to install a hidden tracking app on the phone so his fiance won't see it or notice it. I overheard them talking, and when I entered the room, they went silent. I waited till my brother left, then I talked to my boyfriend. At first, he denied having this conversation with my brother, but then he admitted to installing the app on the phone. I told him that him and my brother were in the wrong, because this is such a huge breach of privacy. He said he's got nothing to do with it and advised me to stay out of it as well. But I said I want to tell my brother's fiance. My boyfriend argued with me about being nosy and intrusive and told me to stay out of it and let them deal with their own issues, but I thought that was unfair to my future sister-in-law since she's the one working, paying bills and rent, and this is how she's treated. My boyfriend told me to GTFO with that attitude, and again, said I should stay out of it because it doesn't in any way concern me. I don't know, I feel horrible after hearing about what my brother did, and since I have a good relationship with his fiance, I can't help but feel guilty and I want to tell her. So, am I the butthole for wanting to tell her? No, absolutely not. You need to tell her. It's a matter of ethical principle that you must tell her. It's insane. What are these two people doing? My question to you is, why do you have two guys like this in your life? All right, fair enough. You can't help your brother being a brother, but for your boyfriend to do something like that, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, you should not be with him. That is mental. And now moving on to our final post of today's episode. Am I the butthole for asking that my daughter not share a room with a special needs kid? I have 4 kids. 3 girls who are 10, 4 and 1, and a 6-year-old boy. Our eldest, Izzy, is 10. She is a doll. My son, Luke, has autism and ADHD, and while lovable, can be a bit of a handful at times. Therefore, Izzy is witness to both the fun and not so fun parts of neurodiversity, and has developed saintly patience and a knack for helping special needs kids with a sense of maturity beyond her years. Particularly noticeable is her kindness with Maisie, a girl in her class with autism and severe anxiety. Now, this has actually worsened as a result of the tumult of the last few years. Izzy's help to Maisie has been brought to my attention before, and I am a super proud mama. Next weekend, school are taking my daughter's class on a trip, and on Thursday, Izzy's teacher asked her to be in a room with Maisie, saying it would make Maisie happy. Maisie has intense separation anxiety and has never been away from home before, but she did frame it as a choice. Always obedient and wanted to do good by her teachers, Izzy agreed, but came home crying, saying that she didn't want to actually be with Maisie because she wanted a break from having to be stressed so others can be happy. This made my heart break. And I know more than anyone that my daughter deserves a chance to be a kid, as in all the lockdowns, she didn't have her usual outlets of sports clubs and had to spend a lot of time with a cranky Luke, whose routine had been destroyed, and a toddler who was very excited to have her big sis at home. While my husband and I always try to do one-on-one activities, it admittedly got harder once his furlough ended, and I unexpectedly got pregnant with our youngest. Luke also found the baby difficult sensory-wise, so whichever parent wasn't tending to the baby often had to be elsewhere with Luke, meaning not as much attention was on Izzy as we would have liked. I feel so bad that my daughter has had a rough ride, and I frankly want to give her a chance to be a little girl instead of an adult. I contacted her teacher, who was aware of the situation with Luke, who agreed that letting Izzy have a break would be a good thing. Today, the school spoke to Maisie's mum, informing her of Maisie's room on the trip. I know the girls in the room and they are lovely, but she was clearly unhappy. She asked me to ask Izzy again. When I said that it was her choice and that I have to respect it, she went on a tirade about how I was bringing Izzy up to be intolerant, how Maisie will feel that Izzy has abandoned her, and how would I feel if it was my son. She is now considering pulling Maisie out of the trip as she feels she wouldn't cope with her separation anxiety without Izzy. My husband thinks that it's the school and Maisie's mum's job, not Izzy's, to accommodate her. But her comments are ringing in my head. After all, I'm not just Izzy's mum, but also Luke's. And as much as I worry about her missing out, I worry about him being isolated too. I know exactly how Maisie's mum feels and how much it sucks, yet I'm not doing the one thing to alleviate her pain. So, am I the butthole? Oh my god, now this one is so tough because as you've just said, OP, you know it from both perspectives. On the one hand, you want your daughter to be able to live like a 10-year-old girl and not have to look after other kids. No other kid should have to do that. Now, it's amazing that she can do that and has that capability, but just for that reason, it shouldn't be expected of her. She has to enjoy life at 10, come on. But then again, you know what it's like having a child with a mental disorder and you know how tough that is and how you don't want your child to be isolated. It's a very, very tough one because look, you've got to find the balance. I think on this one, you've got to respect your daughter. She, personally, doesn't want to do it. Therefore, you got to back her. I'm sorry. Like, it's amazing that she's so kind and so selfless, but on this one, especially, you've got to go with what she wants. And look, don't get me wrong, it's tough for Maisie's mum. I hope that Maisie can still go on the trip, but it's a tough one. If you're Maisie's mum, you're probably less inclined to send her. I don't know what to do here, guys. Just comment down below. What would you do in this situation? I think you got to go with your kid. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/am I the butthole. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you want more stories from this subreddit right away, check this out. It's a wonderful, wonderful video. Guys, comment down below as well your thoughts on all 5 stories. I want to hear them. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all tomorrow with a brand new episode.